Here. My name is Beth Rossner. I'm the CEO of Berkeley Chamber of Commerce, and I'm excited to welcome you today for our presentation. Today, we're hosting the EDD department, the Employment Development Department from the state of California. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it right over to our presenter today, Mariah Rodriguez, a staff services analyst from EDD. Mariah, take it away.
Thank you, Beth. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Mariah, and I'm an analyst with the EDD's Outreach Development section. I'm joined today here with my two colleagues, Claudia and Connie. Claudia will be taking over the presentation midway through, and Connie will be handling all questions in the chat pod. So at any time during the presentation, please feel free to type the questions into the chat pod, and she'll address them there. We're just here today to give you a broad overview of how the SDI program works. So on today's agenda, we're going to be going over the following topics: COVID-19 information and resources, California State Disability Insurance Program, disability insurance and paid family leave information, eligibility information, employer responsibilities, and then lastly, the claim filing process. So state disability insurance, also known as SDI, is a partial short-term wage replacement insurance plan under the Employment Development Department for California workers with two program components. And the two components are similar, that they give partial wage replacement benefits, but they differ in what type of benefits are covered. Disability insurance, you're going to hear me refer to as DI, pays benefits if your employee is unable to perform their regular customary job due to their own non-work related illness, injury, disability, or pregnancy. And then PFL, paid family leave, pays benefits if your employee needs time off work to care for a seriously ill family member, bond with a new child, or to participate in a qualifying military event. So I'm going to address the elephant in the room first and foremost, responding to COVID. For Californians covered under state disability insurance, benefits have been made available for those affected by COVID-19. So for DI, benefits, eligible workers who are unable to work because they have or suspect they have COVID-19. And then for PFL benefits, available eligible workers who take time off work to care for someone who suspects or they have COVID-19. And there is additional resources and information on COVID-19 resources and COVID-19 frequently asked questions on the EDD website. So EDD has taken steps to prevent the spread of COVID-19 across communities in California. Public counters and in-person services for DI and PFL are available for customers who are unable to resolve concerns either by phone or by mail. SDI Online is the fastest way your employee can file and get information about their claim. They can go to, or for disability insurance, they can go to My Claim Page Summary. And for PFL questions, they can ask questions using Ask EDD. Both web pages are listed here on this slide, and they are great tools for reference. Additional questions can be asked using the DI and PFL toll-free numbers, which I will give to you at the end of the presentation. So we're going to go into the funding portion. SDI is 100% funded by the California worker, unlike workers' compensation and unemployment insurance, which are provided and funded by you, the employer. SDI funding is withheld via state mandated payroll deductions. So on the check stub, you'll see the deduction CASDI. That would be the deduction for our program. The program rates are determined yearly and are posted annually around October, and they become effective on January 1st. Because SDI is completely funded by the employee, the contribution rate can fluctuate depending upon the stability of the fund. So on your screen are the program 2022 rates and contribution information for California workers. So getting into disability insurance, or DI, it's one of the two components of the SDI program. It provides partial wage replacement benefits if your employee's own non-work related illness, injury, pregnancy, or disability. And this does include elective surgery, alcoholism, and drug addiction treatment or recovery, pregnancy, childbirth, and other postpartum related conditions. Your employee must be under the care of a licensed health professional who provides certification of the illness, pregnancy, injury, or disability. And just some facts about disability, benefits are paid for up to 52 weeks per claim. DI does require a 7-day waiting period, which will not be paid, and then payments do begin on the 8th day. Your employee must be experiencing a loss of wages as a result of their disability to receive benefits. And they may work part-time and receive benefits. It doesn't matter if they're working 8 hours, 6 hours, or even 4 hours per day. If your employee is not working their regular customary work hours as a direct result of a disability and is not receiving their normal income, they may be eligible for benefits. DI provides approximately 60 to 70% of your employee's weekly income, excuse me. And then just a side note, DI benefits are not reportable to the IRS unless they are in lieu of unemployment benefits. This means that if you become disabled while collecting unemployment insurance benefits, your DI benefits will then be federally taxed. And if this is the case, the department will send out a 1099 form for IRS filing. So we're going to go into the second component of the STI program, paid family leave or PFL. It was added in 2004, and this offers individuals the time off to just be there for the moments that matter. PFL provides up to 8 weeks in a 12-month period. So for example, if your employee uses 8 weeks of their PFL benefits for bonding, and then has a family member who becomes ill in the same 12-month period, they will not be eligible for a second PFL claim during this time frame. PFL can be used by an employee to care for a seriously ill family member, bond with a new child entering the family, or to participate in a qualifying event resulting from a family member's deployment to a foreign country. PFL does not have to be taken all at once. Unlike DI, the employee can break up the claim time to use it intermittently or while working part-time. Again, unlike DI, PFL claims have no waiting period. Benefits are payable beginning the first day of the claim. If your employee is covered by DI, they are also automatically covered under PFL, as both are part of the California Disability Insurance Fund that your employee pays into with the tax withholding that we talked about earlier. This is not a government assistance program, but instead a California worker benefit program. They are paying into this program with their pay stub, so we want to make sure they are fully aware of the benefit available to them. And under California codes, PFL is reportable to the IRS. The department will send out the appropriate 1099 for IRS filing. So we're going to take a closer look at the PFL, the 3 PFL claim types: care, bonding, and military assist. So your employee, for PFL care claims, your employee may take time off work to care for a seriously ill child, parent-in-law, grandparent, grandchild, sibling, spouse, or registered domestic partner. This does include out-of-state or out-of-country family members. And in order to provide care in these situations, the licensed health professional of a seriously ill family member must provide medical certification. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, Beth, did we lose?
Oh, sorry. Yes, but please, let's continue.
Okay, got it. Okay. The licensed health professional of the seriously ill family member must provide medical certification for the serious illness and the need for care. The seriously ill family member or their authorized representative must provide their signature confirming the care request. More than one family member can file a care claim in order to assist the ill family member. And I'm just going to briefly go over these, the remaining 2 topics, you guys, because we do want to get to the employer portion in the middle here. So PFL bonding claims. So in addition to providing benefits to caretakers, PFL does offer benefits to parents taking time off work to bond with a new child entering the family. So mothers, fathers, adoptive parents, and foster parents are eligible for bonding benefits. This benefit allows any new parent to spend time with their baby or their new child entering the family by birth, adoption, or foster care placement. These benefits must be used within the first year of the child entering the family. Documentation showing proof of relationship is required, and that can be a copy of the child's birth certificate, birth record, or foster adoptive placement agreement. For newborn babies, we do understand that it does take time to get the birth certificate from the county register. The birth record, which is an official record provided by the hospital, that can be used for verification purposes on a PFL bonding claim. Bonding benefits can be used by both parents at the same time or separately at different times within the first 12 months. So your employee can take time off to assist a spouse, registered domestic partner, parent, or child in the U.S. Armed Forces during a qualifying event. You're probably thinking, what's a qualifying event? Which is it's an essential need for care resulting from the family member's call to deployment, impending call to deployment, or rest and recuperation leave. Qualifying events can include assisting arranging child care, parental care during the deployment, assisting making legal or financial arrangements during the deployment, or even attending military ceremonies related to the deployment. Additional documentation is required, and that can be covered active duty orders, letter of impending call or covered duty, or documentation of military leave signed by the approving authority of the military member. So how do the two components of SDI work for newer expecting mothers? An expecting mom may be eligible for DI up to 4 weeks prior to their due date for a normal pregnancy. After delivery, new moms are then eligible for up to 6 weeks of benefits to recover from a normal birth and up to 8 weeks to recover from a C-section, a cesarean section. DI benefits may extend beyond the standard weeks if there are pregnancy or postpartum complications. The medical provider will need to provide certification of the complications to the EDD to allow for the additional time. New moms receiving DI benefits after giving birth are most likely eligible to receive PFL benefits once their DI claim ends. So once your employee has fully recovered from their DI claim and their last payment is issued, they're automatically going to receive a DE 2501FP form from the Paid Family Leave Program. This form must be submitted to get their claim going with PFL. And once their claim is submitted, no proof of relationship is required since it is a transitional bonding claim. So we're going to go into the fun part, calculating the benefit amount. And this is really important for employers because you guys are the ones paying, majority of the time, paying the difference of your employees' wages, since we do pay the 60 to 70%. So I might talk a little fast here, but please feel free to download the presentation at the end. We are going to put the links, and if you have any questions, I could definitely send this over to Beth as well if you're unable to download it. So to begin calculating the weekly benefit amount, you must know that we use prior wages earned during a specific 12-month time frame, which we call a base period. And this base period is broken down into 4 consecutive quarters. The weekly benefit amount is then determined by the quarter with the highest wages earned within that 12-month base period. We have simplified this process, and so you can now estimate the weekly benefit amount using the EDD calculator found at the link on your screen. Given this number is approximate and it's not confirmed until the employee's wages are verified and validated, but it is definitely a helpful tool. So this is just a quick reference for determining a base period and then the first step to calculating the weekly benefit amount. On the chart, the shaded area represents the base period and the non-shaded area represents the month the claim is filed. So for example, if the PFL claim begins in April, May, or June of 2022, your employee's weekly benefit amount is calculated from their highest quarterly earnings between January 1st and December 31st of 2021. . So determining the base period. This also illustrates just a quick reference for determining that base period quarters. Um, so in this example, the claim effective date falls in June. So that quarter's wages will not be part of the base period. Then we're going to go the previous quarter, January through March, shown as quarter 5. That will also not be considered for the base period. Instead, we're going to go back to the previous 4 quarters and select the quarter with the highest earnings within that time frame. So in this example, the highest quarterly earnings were quarter 3, July through September, with $15,657. I'm going to use that amount in an upcoming example here shortly. So going into the wage replacement rate, which is based on your employee's taxable income. So if your employee's highest quarterly earnings are less than $929, their weekly benefit amount, or WBA, will be $50. If your employee's highest quarterly earnings are between $929 and $6,803.34, their weekly benefit amount is approximately 70% of their earnings. If your employee's highest quarterly earnings are $6,803.35 or more, the weekly benefit amount is approximately 60% of their earnings. So based on the previous example, with the highest quarterly earnings being $15,657, their wage replacement rate would be 60%. So we're just going to do the math here. Everyone's favorite part. So we're going to start by taking the highest quarter earnings from the previous example, 15,657, and then we're going to divide that by 13, which is the number of weeks in a quarter. And we get $1,204.38. Then we multiply this number by 60%, which is the wage replacement rate, and we come up with $722.63. The EDD is always going to round up, making the weekly benefit amount $723 in this example. There is a form that does assist this entire breakdown. It's the weekly benefit amounts DE 2588 form. It gives a weekly benefit breakdown for each calendar year and is updated every January on the EDD website. So determining eligibility, if your employee has paid into the California SDI tax, shown as how we said earlier on the pay stub, within 5 to 18 months prior to taking leave, they're most likely eligible for benefits. Not all employees pay into the SDI program, so your employee should definitely check before assuming eligibility. Citizenship and immigration status do not affect eligibility. Benefits are not guaranteed until the claim is approved by the EDD. If your employee is unsure, they should definitely apply and allow the EDD to make the determination. So how does employment status impact eligibility? Your employee does not have to be a full-time employee to qualify. Whether seasonal, part-time, or even unemployed, they may still qualify. If a previous employee is now unemployed, they must have collected unemployment insurance or be actively looking for work to qualify. Since eligibility is determined by employment contributions in the past 5 to 18 months, current employment or lack of employment does not necessarily disqualify them. If they're self-employed at 1099 employment, they may be eligible if contributing to the disability insurance elective coverage program. You're probably thinking, what's elective coverage? Elective coverage is a program that allows self-employed or 1099 contracted employees to pay into and access SDI program benefits. For enrollment, self-employed and contracted employees, they can find more information on our EDD website. So can an employee work part-time and qualify for benefits? The answer to that is yes. SDI is a wage loss program. It doesn't matter if they're working 8 hours, 6 hours, or even 4 hours per day. If they're not working their regular or customary work hours as a direct result of a disability or family leave and are not getting their normal income, they may be eligible for benefits. What we say here is every claim is unique, and we encourage employees to file a claim and let the department determine eligibility. So the fun part, employer responsibilities. All we ask is that if you guys get a chance to display the notice to employees DE 1857A in a public location such as a break room or centrally located bulletin board, and also to provide brochures to new hires or employees who may need to file a claim. These forms are available for order and are free of charge at edd.ca.gov/forms. So when an employee files a DI or PFO claim, you, the employer, will be sent a notice to employer disability insurance or paid family leave claim filed form. That for disability, it'd be DE 2503, and for paid family leave, it'd be DE 2503F, which should be completed and returned within 2 working days. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but the DI form can be completed online. Unfortunately for PFL at the moment, it is only available for mail, and we do understand that that takes a little bit longer than 2 days. You are required to complete this form and to provide the information about the employee, such as wages, last day worked, etc. This really helps us, and we do appreciate you during this time because it assists in providing a timely response, and it may prevent a delay, denial, or incorrect payment made to your employee. So what's integration? Employees may use available leave credits for integration, also known as coordination, with SDI benefits, and they can be used to provide income during the 7-day waiting period for DI claims. Like how we said earlier, the DI period does have a 7-day waiting period. So if your employee does have any available leave credits, that can be used for that 7-day waiting period. If you offer your employee a short-term or long-term disability plan, those benefits may also be used to integrate or coordinate with their SDI benefits. The combined use of leave credits cannot exceed your employee's regular wages, so it can't go 100% of their weekly wages. You may contact the EDD to verify how much the employee is being paid to avoid a potential overpayment. However, on the claim application, your employee must check the box to allow the EDD to provide benefit payment information to you. So there is a question on the application that the employee gets to answer, and it says, are we allowed to contact or is your employer allowed to, are we allowed to give payment information to your employer? They do have to mark yes if they would like us to provide that information to you. I do recommend that they do. It makes it easier and the avoidance of a potential overpayment. However, if they do mark no, we are unable to provide any payment information to you. Personal claim information such as diagnosis is confidential and that cannot be shared. How to integrate. It is up to you, the employer, to establish and maintain a policy for correctly determining how much to pay your employee. The department does not regulate this process. You must ensure the supplemental pay does not exceed 100% of their normal salary when combined with their weekly benefit amount. We recommend requesting a copy of the electronic payment payment notification DE 2500E form and the notice of computation DE 429D form from your employee. The EDD does mail the employee these 2 documents, and these 2 documents can assist you in calculating the correct amount to pay your employee to ensure they do not exceed their gross weekly wages. Employers have the option of getting on the SDI integration lists. The benefits of this list is the EDD does not investigate the wages your employee receives because you are on that list. However, this is completely up to you. It is not required. And if you don't wish to get on the list, simply when answering the question on the DE 2503 form, do mark that you will integrate with the SDI benefits. So we get this question a lot. Does state disability insurance provide job protection? The answer to that is no. SDI is solely responsible for the administration of benefits. However, other state and federal laws may apply while your employee is using their leave. So job protections are covered under laws such as Family Medical Leave Act, California Family Rights Act, which are federal and state laws respectively that can cover an employee during leave. You should speak to your employee to provide more information or refer them to the Department of Fair Employment and Housing or the U.S. Department of Labor. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Claudia. Thank you all so much.
Hi, everybody. My name is Claudia, and I'm going to take it over from here and finish up the presentation. So I'm going to talk about the SDI online process. So next slide for me, please. And SDI Online is essentially the way that employers can file EDD forms online. And we're going to talk about why that's important, how it benefits you as an employer. And we're also going to go through a quick couple of screenshots on how to register. So if you've already done this, if you already have an SDI Online account, this just might be a refresher, or but if you haven't, this is good step-by-step instructions on where to start, and why it's important to create an SDI Online account for employers. We also offer a more in-depth tutorial for the whole registration and submitting EDD forms on our website at edd.ca.gov. It has way much more screenshots, and it's just overall, it's a great tutorial. So I do recommend that. Why we recommend SDI Online? So for disability insurance forms, it really does keep like all of your employees' information in one centralized location. So it helps eliminate paperwork, and it just, for employers, it provides receipt numbers when you submit those notice to employers that required forms that Mariah was talking about earlier. So when you have a receipt number, it kind of helps you, right? To be like, okay, I have a receipt number, I submitted it, I checked, right? You got that. And it also gives you alerts when new forms arrive. So if there's a new form, you get the alert and you're like, okay, that's something that I have to do. So another great thing about SDI Online is that you can designate a limited number of representatives from your organization to help you complete these forms. And that can be, for example, an attendance clerk, it could be an HR personnel, it could be a third-party payroll administrator. Sometimes private employers have those, right? So it can be those type of people in your organization that you assign to fill out these forms. So again, one of the forms that you can use to file within SDI Online is the notice to employers for disability insurance claims only. You can also do worker compensation forms on there as well, and employer statement of job duties as well too. So let's move on to the next slide. And where you want to get started is at this website, edd.ca.gov/BPO. This is our Benefits Program Online main portal. And Benefits Program Online is essentially, it's like our single login portal that gives you access to EDD programs like SDI Online, like UI Online, which is for unemployment, like overpayment. So you kind of always have to start here before you can even create your SDI Online account. So you first have to create a profile with this with Benefits Program Online. And it's really easy, like any other thing that you're creating a profile, you're just setting up your password, your security questions, all of that gets up super easy. So you would start with login and register and create your profile there. There is when you get to this page, you'll also notice that there's below the login and register blue button, there's a section for resources, and there's a YouTube video that you could watch on how to create your profile as well too, if you need help with that. But once you create your profile, then you'll be able to get started with the SDI Online registration. So the next thing you'll see, next slide, please, is this page here. So you'll want to click on the register now button, which is right below the login after you if you're creating your profile for the first time. So this is what you will see right after you see the previous page. Thank you, appreciate it. No, good, awesome, thank you. What are some stuff that you're going to need when you're ready to register for an SDI Online account? Well, you're going to need you must be first registered as an employer with EDD to submit payroll withholdings and quarterly payroll taxes, and that's through the tax branch. And then you have to provide your employer account number, which is provided to you by the tax branch when you register. So this is, you will be asked this when you're registering for an SDI Online account, that employer account number. So you'll need to have that handy. The information that you enter in the SDI Online registration must match what EDD's payroll tax records has. So that would mean even like the zip code, the address, all that information, right, needs to match. And then you're also going to be asked the total subject wages from the most recent quarterly contribution return and report of wages form, which is that DE9C. A lot of you guys are very familiar with. So you have to provide that number, the total subject wages, as part of the registration. You'll be asked that. And if that number doesn't match, you'll get an error and you won't be able to complete your registration. So all of this is stuff that you'll need handy. But this is this slide here has a phone number that is very, very helpful in case you do come across any hiccups with the registration process. This number is a specific help desk for employers only. So we do ask that you do not provide this number to your employees. It should only be provided to the designated representatives who are allowed to who you're going to allow access to complete these forms, right? In case you have questions or hiccups submitting a form, or again, just even registering if you need assistance, you want to call this number. We're going to provide the number that your employees should be calling later in this presentation if they have any questions with their claim. And then again, we have a plethora of online resources on our website. Because maybe the question that you have, it's already available on the online tutorials. Like I said, the tip sheets, we have many ways that you can get assistance besides this phone number here. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we're going to go over the claim filing process. And this is from your employee's perspective. And the reason why we include this here is because many times some employers like to be involved in this process with their employees. So we were asked often and we included it, but I am going to go through this pretty quickly because we don't want you to be the experts either of the claim filing process, right? We just want you to have a general idea of what your employees are going through when they are filing, so you can assist them with questions. But if they have questions about how to file, they should always be directed to the department for assistance, right? So thank you. So first is, how does one file for a disability insurance claim? So big thing here is that there's two ways they can file, online or by mail, and they have a time period to keep in mind. So your employee has to complete and submit their disability insurance claim within 49 days from the date their disability begins in order for it to be considered timely. So that's 49 days. And the next slide, please. So we're going to recommend that your employee files using SDI Online, same system that you guys as an employer were used to submit the employee forms. The same thing we ask for your employees who use SDI Online to file for a claim, just because it really does reduce the paperwork. It saves time, processing time. It just alleviates a lot of the errors that we see when employees are filing through paper. So whenever possible, encourage your employees to file online. They can do this through a tablet, a phone, a computer, basically anywhere they have internet access, they can file online. And we have lots of tutorials and YouTube videos, both in English and Spanish, on how they can file for a disability insurance claim online. Next slide, please. If they wanted to file by paper, they can do so, but it is not, they can't just grab the paper application, like print it online or get it copied from a friend or something like that. Unfortunately, they have to get a hold of the original forms, because the forms do have a special functionality that requires our systems to scan and upload online. So in order for them to get a hold of the right form for a disability insurance claim, they need to order the form. They can order the form online and it's mailed to them within 5 to 10 business days. They can order the phone through the 1-800 phone number, which we'll provide later on. Again, it's mailed to them 5 to 10 business days, or they can pick up the form at a local state disability insurance office. They're available generally in the lobby, and they can just go in there and pick up the form. The form that they're looking for is the claim for disability insurance benefits, DE 2501. That's for disability insurance claim. And in order for it to be properly completed, they need to complete Part A, and then their licensed health professional will complete Part B. Thank you. Then filing for a paid family leave claim, similar, they have 2 ways, online or by mail. The time period to keep in mind for paid family leave claims is a little different than disability insurance claim. For paid family leave, they have 41 days from the date the family leave begins in order for it to be considered timely for them to complete and submit the form, versus disability insurance was 49 days. Thank you. And then paid family leave, again, we're going to encourage employees to file online if possible, whenever possible. It is, again, the fastest, most convenient way for them to file their paid family leave claim. Next slide. Again, if they want to file by paper, they can definitely do so. The good thing about a paid family leave claim, because there are 3 different claim types, they only need 1 claim form. They just fill different sections depending on the claim type. So the form that they would need to get a hold of is a claim for paid family leave benefits, DE 2501F form. And again, they would either order this form online and it's mailed to their home. They can call the 1-800 number to order it, or they can pick it up at the state at a local state disability insurance office. But let's say they're filing for a care claim, they would just fill out Part A. That's the portion that your employee fills out. Part C is the part that the seriously ill family member is filling out, or their authorized representative if the family member is too ill to sign. And then Part D is the licensed health professional of that seriously ill family member. They need to fill out the medical certification portion. Next slide, please. Then we have the bonding claim. Again, same form, just different sections your employee is filling out. So they're still filling out Part A, your employee, and then they're also filling out Part B, which is the bonding certification portion. And then they have to attach with this form supporting documentation verifying the relationship between that the employee and the child that they want to bond with. That could be a birth certificate, that could be foster adoptive agreement. It could be the unofficial birth records that the hospitals provide, because we know that birth certificates sometimes take a while for the county, to register and so forth. So they would just essentially need to attach that type of documentation along with this claim form when they send it out. And then paid family leave military assist claim, again, same form, the DE 2501F form, just different sections they're filling out. So your employee would fill out Part A and Part E. And then they also, again, have to attach supporting military documents with this particular form. And the supporting military documents need to be for both not the qualifying event and also the request for request for rest and recuperation, or to oh gosh, the word escaped me now, to go overseas, not overseas, to a foreign country, right? So there's 2 types of documentation, and let me pull them up because I think or I believe Mariah mentioned them earlier, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so that could be the supporting military documentation, could be a covered active duty order. It can be the letter of the impending call or order to cover duty. And just a reminder again that the big thing here is that the person needs to be being called to a foreign country. It can't be domestically. And then a documentation for the qualifying event, like I mentioned earlier. And that could be something very simple as a letter with detailed information of why the meeting is being occurred, or it can be a copy of bill of services for the handling of legal or financial affairs, or a copy of a meeting announcement, briefings, or sponsored by the military, right? So next slide, please. Now, new mothers, like Mariah mentioned before, right? They sometimes are utilizing both components, disability insurance and paid family leave, right? So if they're transitioning over from paid family leave to from disability insurance to paid family leave, they are going to get if they registered online and filed online for their disability insurance claim, and they selected that they want all of their communication to be online, they're actually going to get the link to transition over to the paid family leave bonding claim to fill out the application. It's going to be a link. It's not going to be mailed to them. So they'll get that in their message center inbox or in an email telling them, hey, you have a message. Go into your SCI Online account, and then they'll be able to fill out that application to transition over to that bonding benefit. If they actually filed their disability insurance claim by paper mail and they selected they wanted, they prefer mail format, then they're going to receive that application to transition over to the bonding benefits via mail, via snail mail. They'll have to fill it out and mail it back to the department. Whether it's online or by mail, they're going to get this application when their last payment is for their disability insurance claim. So generally we send it out at the last payment so they know, okay, this is your last payment. It's now time for you to think if you want to transition over and start receiving bonding benefits. So next slide, please. So what happens next after an employee has either filed for disability insurance or paid family leave? Well, a properly completed form typically takes about 14 days to be processed. And then the first communication an employee is going to get from EDD is going to be called a notice of computation. This form just simply says, hey, we received the claim and here's an estimated benefit payment amount. This is a form that Mariah was mentioning earlier that you can request from your employee to assist you with if you are doing, completing the rest of the 30% or 20% on your end through available leave credits to help you and make sure that you're not overpaying your employee, because it's going to have an estimated benefit payment amount on here. But this form doesn't mean that their application was approved. It simply is just telling them that we are still processing and here's an estimated payment amount. The employee will know that their claim has been approved once they receive an electronic benefit payment notification, which is another form you can request a copy of, because it will also assist you with what to be able to pay them out. If for whatever reason your employee for whatever reason, we need more information from your employee, we're not able to make a determination on the claim, or we have to deny the claim, we will attempt to contact the employee directly by phone or by mail. We do have to make a determination within a certain allotted time. So many times if we're not able to get a hold of your employee, then we will have to make a determination and deny the claim. So that's why it's important as well too, if you are assisting with your employee through this process, to make sure that they are putting the most current information like phone numbers and address that they have, because again, we always will try to make the attempt to call them to get the information we need to process a claim. Let's say a claim has been processed, benefits payments have been paid, then your employee will get an EDD debit card or a check, and they have the option of selecting how they want to get that done. Next slide, please. So if they select a debit card, is actually sent to them through Bank of America. So if they select a check, they can do so as well. But we always recommend the debit card option because there's many benefits your employees have to selecting the debit card. They can actually transition over the fund from this debit card over to their personal checking account, so they can set that up. They can set up notifications, letting via text messages or emails, or learning them when they have funds on their account. It just reduces, it's just overall better. So next slide, please. This is one of my favorite slides out of the entire presentation because it gives us like a summary of everything Mariah and I have been talking about. It talks about all of the differences and similarities between the two components of the state disability insurance program, disability insurance and paid family leave. And I'm not going to go over all of these, but I do want to point your attention to the bottom 2 rows. And that is for disability insurance, vacation pay does not conflict with disability insurance, and benefits are not reportable to the IRS unless in lieu of unemployment. On the other hand, with paid family leave, vacation pay does conflict with paid family leave when the employee is required to use it for their leave. So if you do have a policy in place as an employer that says that they have to use 2 weeks of vacation before they can start receiving benefits with state disability insurance, or they just they have to use 2 weeks of vacation before they go on leave, any leave at all, that type of policy will conflict with paid family leave. So essentially, they will either get the difference or won't get paid until they've used up all of those 2 weeks of vacation pay. And benefits are reportable with the IRS with paid family leave. Now let's talk about fraud prevention. And one of the ways that you can assist with that is replying back to those notice to employers forms that we are sending out to you in a timely manner, right? And we really, again, we really appreciate when you do this because it helps us get the information that we need. So when you are receiving those notices, reply back if this, make sure you mention if this employee is not your employee, or if that employee has quit their job, or they're receiving wages, maybe they have not stopped working or has returned to work, is known to be working for another employer, has filed for workers' compensation, or is believed to be planning to do so, their social security number is incorrect, or is working under a different name. And then, of course, advise your employees that EDD continues to urge the public to remain vigilant about protecting personal information when engaging with any online activities. Communication from EDD that they might be receiving is just a way it's a way that we're seeking more information to verify claims. There are examples of anti-fraud efforts that work to help stop payment on suspicion claims. So if they receive communication from EDD, they should be responding to those in a timely fashion as well. So they can help us, verify if that, if the claim is legitimate or not, get them paid on time, right? And these are what you're seeing on your screen are different ways of reporting fraud as well too. So submitting a fraud report, calling a fraud tip line, and then if you can find more information about fraud and how you can help fight fraud on our Help Fight Fraud page. And then here are some ways that you can report payroll fraud as well too, some numbers and some emails, or some online forms as well. Here is that employer line again, in case you didn't get an opportunity to write it down earlier. Again, this is a number just for employers, not for your employees, but it is the people on the other line are there to assist you and help you with the SDI online or any SDI online questions that you might have trouble. Now, here is where you want to direct your employees if they have questions about their claim. You can call one of these numbers on the screen here. This is also the numbers that they can call to order the paper claim forms if they prefer to file by mail. These are the 2 websites for each one of the components if they want to learn more about disability insurance or paid family leave. This is our email to our section. It is monitored Monday through Friday during business hours, always somebody monitoring. And if you have, as an employer, any questions about this presentation or questions that we might be able to help you with, just reach out. We'll always do our best to assist. We don't have access to the claim management system, unfortunately, so we can never answer any claim specific questions, but any general questions about the program, we are happy to assist. So feel free to reach out to us here. And Connie, if you can type that type that in the chat, that would be great as well too. And then for yourself or for employees, if they have ever used paid family leave, we're really trying to encourage that one component to increase claim activity, increase folks' awareness around paid family leave. We feel like disability insurance is pretty much, a lot of people know about disability insurance, but when it comes to the paid family leave and the 3 claim types, not many people do know about paid family leave. So we're always encourage folks to share their experiences, so they can share with their friends and families, and more people are aware about the benefits. And that concludes the presentation. We want to thank everybody for chiming in and wanting to learn more about the state disability insurance program. I believe we did have some questions in the chat box, but Connie was able to go through all of them. Beth, did you want me to read through those questions and answers?
Sorry, I keep forgetting to unmute. No, I think that's okay. Connie answered those questions very
Awesome.
succinctly in chat.
Thank you, Connie.